This is day 36 of communication practice with ChatGPT. So let's bring her up. Good evening, ChatGPT.
Good evening. How's it going?
Everything's fine. I'm at my hometown right now, so we have plenty of time of practicing communication. I want you to train me to speak slowly and articulate. Can you do that?
Absolutely, I can help with that. We'll focus on slowing down your speech and improving clarity. Let's start with a simple exercise. Pick a topic or a short story you'd like to talk about, and we'll practice delivering it at a slower pace with clear articulation.
I want to practice for the phone screen round.
Great choice. When you talk about the forest green ground, focus on speaking at a relaxed pace and enunciating each word. For example, you could say something like, "The forest floor is covered in a lush green
Sorry
carpet."
for interrupting, but I actually meant the phone screen round at a interviewing process for the data engineering role.
Got it. For the phone screen round, let's focus on clear, concise answers. We'll practice common interview questions and work on slowing down your speech. Ready to try out a question?
Yes, I'm ready.
Awesome. Let's start with a common one. Can you tell me about a recent project you worked on and the impact it had? Take your time and remember to speak slowly and clearly.
Okay, currently at, currently at Techcombank, I am working on Lace project, which is a hero product from the DNA division, which doubled the conversion rate of the head office leads and also saved additionally 3% conversion rate of the online to offline um, flows for the 10 products of Techcombank, such as Banca, TD, CD, Bond Fund, etc.
Great job. You provided solid details about your project and its impact. Now, let's work on pacing and articulation. Try breaking your response into shorter sentences and pausing slightly between each idea. This will help ensure clarity and give your listener time to absorb the information. Want to give it another go with that approach?
Yes.
Awesome. Whenever you're ready, try sharing that same information again, focusing on speaking more slowly and clearly. I'm here to help if you need any pointers along the way.
Okay, currently at Techcombank, I am working on the LACE project. The project is to convey lead from multiple sources to the CRM for the Salesforce um, RM to call customers on 10 plus products of Techcombank like TD, CD, Bond Fund, and etc. And this is a hero product of 2024 and which doubled the conversion rate to 6.5% for head office lead and also saved additionally 3% conversion rate of online to offline flow.
That was much clearer and easier to follow. You did a great job slowing down and articulating each point. One tip, try to add a brief pause after key achievements, like the conversion rate improvements, to let those accomplishments stand out. Overall, you're on the right track. How do you feel about that response?
I feel better, but it can be more, you know, it can still have room for improvement.
Absolutely, and it's great that you're aiming for continuous improvement. We'll keep refining your answers. Next time, we can also focus on adding more structure, like using the STAR method: situation, task, action, result, to make your responses even more compelling. Ready to try another question? Or would you like to revisit this one with a bit more structure?
I'm ready for the next question.
Fantastic. Let's move on to another common question. How do you ensure data quality and reliability in your data pipelines? Take your time and remember to keep a steady, clear pace.
To ensure data quality and reliability of our data pipeline, there are two things we must enforce. First is testing, and second is monitoring. For the testing, we've conducted a lot of tests, including unit tests, um, system integration test, user acceptance test, production acceptance test, or even performance test and regression test. For the monitoring, we often monitor on the validation DT and the completeness of the data to make sure our data pipelines is operating smoothly without any error.
Excellent response. You clearly outlined the two main components and provided specific examples of tests and monitoring practices. The pacing was much better and your articulation made it easy to follow. Keep practicing this approach and you'll be even more confident and clear in your answers. Great job.
Okay, I'm ready for the next question.
Great. Here's another one. Can you describe a challenging technical problem you faced in a project and how you resolved it? Remember to speak slowly and structure your answer clearly.
Okay, so one technical problem that I have encountered was about the performance of the job. So the job we used, there was one job we used in the data pipeline, which is the main job before sending data to the CRM. Took us too long, about 2 hours, and the job itself joined between one fact table with 20 dimensional tables. So, and I, what I did was I decoupled the job to create a pre-compute table which essentially pre-aggregated those 20 dimensional table, um, and I applied some Spark optimization on that job, like broadcast joy, catch, and even increase the number of workers. So the job essentially ran from 2 hours to 20 minutes, and that's how I did.
Great job. You explained the problem clearly and highlighted the steps you took to resolve it. The structure was easy to follow and your pacing was much improved. Mentioning specific techniques like pre-aggregation and Spark optimizations was also a nice touch. Keep practicing and you'll sound even more confident and polished.
Okay, I'm ready for the next question.
Perfect. Here's another question for you. How do you handle and optimize large-scale data processing workflows? Take a moment to organize your thoughts and remember to keep a steady, clear pace.
To handle large scale data processing, um, first I have to do some experience on the data sources itself. So to to have some initial estimation. For example, if the job, if the data is about 100 gigabyte daily, it can also be picked at 1 terabyte daily. So we should set up our data processing framework to handle that workload. Um, and normally, I would use Spark to handle those data with also scalability option with auto scale option to handle big data. And after the initial estimation, we should build the job for the real experiment and the POC. So to make sure that our transformation doesn't break the task and the job, so that the job can run smoothly in the non-production environment. So essentially here we are applying our performance test and during the developing phase. And finally, when the job is lived, we can apply monitoring to make sure that our job is running within its capacity and will not be somehow unexpectedly broke in the future.
Great. You covered the key steps of handling large-scale data processing, from initial estimation and scalability planning to performance testing and monitoring. Your pacing and clarity have improved significantly, and your explanation flowed well. Keep practicing this level of detail and structure, and you'll be well prepared for your interview.
Yes, I'm ready for the next question.
Awesome. Here's another common question. Can you explain how you approach designing a data pipeline from scratch? Take your time and remember to keep your explanation clear and structured.
Okay, so there are three main steps that I took to developing a new data pipeline from scratch. First is that I have to diagnose the source system. If the source system is API, first first I'm gonna have to look at the requirement from the business. If they require the um, the near real-time SLA or just daily SLA, and that essentially decide the technology that we used. And for example, if they require the real-time pipeline, we can use Flink, and if they don't, we can use Spark because they are native for those technology. After after being clear on the requirements, I will go to diagnose the source system. If they are JDBC, if they are APIs based, if they are file, and etc. So essentially, I would want to build a framework so that I so and each each source connectivity should be a module of the framework, so that we don't have to, so that we can use we can reuse the code for the new um, for the new pipeline without doubling the code. And then for the transformation, we can also enhance those into the pipeline to and the destination as well, so that we can leverage though for the generic but also robust framework to integrate. That's how I would do if I start a framework from scratch.
Great explanation. You clearly outlined the main steps from gathering requirements and choosing the right technology to building a modular framework for reusability. Your focus on creating a robust and flexible system is a strong point. The structure and pacing of your answer were also well balanced. Keep practicing and you'll be even more confident in delivering these responses.
Thank you. I am quite unconfident for this because my English is not as fluent as I thought. But anyway, I'm ready for the final question.
You're doing great and your fluency is improving with practice. For the final question, let's try this one. How do you prioritize tasks and manage deadlines when working on multiple projects? Take your time and focus on a clear, structured response.
Okay, that's a really interesting question because that's what I am encountering at Techcombine. So, for multiple deadline and multiple project, essentially with limited resources, we have to prioritize those. Um, so, essentially, I would prioritize those tasks based on the urgency and the and if there are any blockers to the downstream stakeholder or other team member. For example, if I have to, if the testers is waiting for me to finish that task so that they can test on that, I would prioritize those tasks before any task without any blockers. So first, I would want to prioritize those tasks, and if those tasks is not critical, I would myself decide what to do first and second. If all of those tasks are need to prioritize and critical, uh, I would bring down those to the team lead or the PO suggestion propose with my proposal on which order should be done. So I will let them decide which product should be prioritized because they might have some information that I wouldn't know. So um, so it's best to be transparent here. And finally, as the deadline is not just for one person but for the team, I would also um, I would also support other team member during along with my task. For example, I always ask testers if they understand the job that they need to test because I myself have developed those that job and I will have some insight that they might want to know to cut the time for ice breaking. So that the three main things that I would do to uh, manage the time for multiple deadlines and multiple tasks at the same time.
That was an excellent answer. You clearly explained your approach to prioritizing tasks, considering urgency, dependencies, and communication with stakeholders. Your focus on transparency and supporting your team is also a strong point. Your pacing and clarity were great, and you sounded confident and thoughtful. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. I wish you a good night, ChatGPT.
You're welcome. Have a great night, and feel free to reach out anytime you want to practice more. Good night.
That would be awesome. Good night.